Maria and her team woke up early on the day of the special council meeting. For the first time in many weeks, there was a sense of hope in the air, everyone dressed in their best uniforms. Ethan polished his shoes twice. Nora made sure the documents and aid reports were ready. Ben checked the communication links again and again, wanting nothing to go wrong. When they arrived at the star station, the halls were full of whispers. Aliens from all over the galaxy had gathered, waiting to see if something would finally change. Some were curious, some hopeful, and some worried that things would stay the same. Maria led her team into the council chamber. This time, the room was silent as the humans took their seats. The delegates from other worlds watched them, some with respect, some with guilt. Lyra stood at the center and asked everyone to listen. Lyra spoke clearly. We are here because we made a mistake. For too long, we ignored the voices of humans and many others. Our galaxy suffered because of our pride. Today, we ask Maria and her team to help us again. We want peace, but we need everyone's help to achieve it. There was a quiet moment. Then Villari, the council leader, stood and read a formal apology. His words were careful, but he bowed his head to show he meant it. On behalf of the Galaxy Council, we are sorry. We were wrong to treat Earth as an outsider. We hope you will forgive us. Maria stood. She looked around the room, meeting the eyes of every delegate. We do not want special treatment. We want fairness for all. Every species, every planet must be heard and respected. We will work with you, but there must be change. The council agreed. New rules were promised. Every member would have a voice, and no one could be ignored or left behind. Maria's words were translated into dozens of languages, broadcast across the galaxy so everyone could hear. The meeting lasted for hours. Maria and her team shared their ideas for peace. Ethan explained how mixed patrols could keep pirates away from trade routes. Nora showed a plan to bring aid faster to sick or hungry colonies. Ben talked about new ways to share technology and knowledge so that no planet was ever left alone in a crisis. Lyra and Villari listened closely. Other delegates offered ideas too, some for the first time. The room felt different now. People were not shouting or turning away. They were talking together, learning from one another. When the meeting ended, Lyra met privately with Maria and her team. She thanked them for their patience and for never giving up. We were wrong, and now we want to be better, Lyra said. Maria smiled. We all make mistakes. What matters is that we learn and grow. Outside the council chamber, word of the apology spread quickly. Reporters sent the news to every corner of the galaxy. On distant planets, people cheered. Refugee camps held small celebrations. Even the miners on the edge of council space sent a message. Thank you for giving us hope again. The human team went back to their ship that night, tired but happy. Maria watched the stars and thought about the long journey it had taken to get here. She knew that real change would take time, but for the first time she believed it was truly possible. The next day, work began on the new peace plans. Maria and her team joined committees and helped draft new council rules. Ethan traveled with a group of mixed-species patrols, training everyone in human rescue tactics. Nora started a new project to connect aid centers across the galaxy, making it easier for every world to get help fast. Ben shared his knowledge with young leaders, teaching them the value of respect and teamwork. There were still problems to solve. Some delegates did not trust the new changes. Others were slow to accept humans as equals. But every day, things improved a little more. Old rivals started to work together. Pirates found it harder to attack trade ships. Refugees began to return home as peace spread to more places. Maria wrote a message to the President of the United Nations. We are making progress. The Council is learning. The galaxy feels different. Thank you for trusting us. On Earth, people celebrated the news. Maria's team became heroes to many, but they stayed humble. They reminded everyone that the real victory was in bringing the galaxy together, not in winning arguments or gaining power. One night, Ethan stood on the observation deck, watching the stars. Nora joined him, and they talked about everything they had seen. "Do you think it will last?" Nora asked. Ethan smiled. "If we keep trying, yes. If we respect each other, peace can last." Maria walked by and heard them talking. She felt proud of her team. They had faced insults and rejection, but they never gave up hope. She knew the journey was not over, but now they were finally walking it together with the Council and with every world that called the galaxy home. The weeks passed slowly. Across the galaxy, the problems only grew worse. Every day there were new reports of fighting, broken trade routes, and small worlds begging for help. Maria and her team tried to answer every message they received, but it was impossible to fix everything. Still, wherever the humans went, things seemed to improve, even if only for a little while. One morning, a message came in from a planet on the far edge of Council space. Two major species had started fighting over mining rights, and now their armies were in a standoff. The people caught in the middle had no water and no way to escape. Maria read the message out loud to her team. "We can help them, but it will not solve the real problem," Ben said. "The Council should be stopping this," Nora agreed. "We are doing what we can, but the Council is lost. They are too busy fighting among themselves." Ethan listened quietly, then spoke. "We have to keep showing what humans can do. The galaxy is watching. If we do nothing, the people will lose hope." Maria nodded. She sent a message to the planet and arranged for supply drops. She also sent a note to Lyra, asking her to speak up again at the Council. The human team split up, with Ethan and Nora going to the planet to help on the ground while Maria and Ben coordinated from the ship. On the planet, Ethan saw how scared the people were. He helped families find clean water and worked with local leaders to set up safe zones. Nora fixed old radios so they could call for help if fighting started again. The people thanked the humans and promised to remember their kindness. Meanwhile, the fighting between the two Council species grew worse. The Council tried to send patrol ships, but they arrived too late. Pirates took advantage of the chaos, raiding cargo ships and stealing supplies. Some planets declared independence, refusing to listen to the Council at all. Back at the Council, Lyra stood up at a meeting and spoke with a strong voice. "We made a mistake by ignoring humans. Our galaxy is falling apart. If we do not fix this now, there will be nothing left to govern." Some delegates laughed at her, but others listened. The Groton still refused to trust Earth, but smaller species started to ask for help from Maria and her team. Even some old rivals of humans sent quiet messages, asking for advice. Maria kept all the messages and showed them to her team. "See, we have more friends than we think. If the Council finally says, 'Sorry, maybe others will follow.'" On the planet, Ethan and Nora watched the two armies from a distance. They met with leaders from both sides, trying to make peace. Ethan shared stories of old human wars and how they always tried to rebuild after fighting. The leaders listened, unsure at first, but soon they began to talk about peace. A few days later, Lyra sent a secret message to Maria. She wrote, "I'm coming to see you. I want to apologize for what the Council did. I hope you can forgive us." Maria read the message to her team. Ben said, "This could be the change we have been waiting for." Nora was hopeful. "Maybe this time, they mean it." When Lyra arrived at the human ship, she looked tired but determined. She met Maria, Ben, Nora, and Ethan in the meeting room. Lyra spoke honestly. "We need your help. The galaxy is falling apart. The Council cannot fix this alone. We should never have treated you as outsiders. Please help us bring peace again." Maria listened carefully. She knew Lyra was sincere. Still, she needed to be sure. Will the Council respect us now? Will you let our voices be heard, not just the powerful ones? Lyra nodded. "I promise. We are ready to change." The Council will offer a public apology. The team talked late into the night. They discussed new ideas for peace, how to help the colonies, and how to stop the fighting. Ethan suggested new ways to work together. sharing patrol duties with every species. Ben offered to train others in human rescue tactics. Nora shared ideas for faster aid deliveries. When the meeting was over, Lyra sent a message to the council. She explained everything and asked the leaders to prepare a formal apology. She also told them what would happen if they refused. More planets would turn away from the council, and the galaxy would keep breaking apart. While they waited for the council's answer, the human team kept working. Maria sent supplies to a refugee camp on a frozen world. Ethan led a rescue mission to a planet that had been hit by a meteor storm. Nora organized a group of medics to travel to 3 sick colonies, then repaired an old communications array so traders could call for help if pirates attacked. The news spread across the galaxy. People on every world waited to see what the council would do. Some thought the apology would never come. Others hoped that this time things would really change. Finally, after many days, a message came from the council. It was an invitation for Maria and her team to return for a special meeting. The council would apologize, and they wanted humans. To help lead new peace talks, Maria smiled for the first time in weeks. She told her team, "We did it. The council is ready to listen." Ethan looked hopeful. Maybe the galaxy will find peace at last. Ben and Nora felt proud. They knew they had helped change history. The part ended with the human team preparing to return to the council chamber. Maria looked at her friends and said, "Let's show them what respect looks like." The days after humans left the council felt long and uncertain for everyone. On the star station, the great hall where the council met was now full of arguing voices. Delegates who once depended on human advice now shouted over each other. The sense of order was gone. Maria and her team followed the news from their ship, watching reports of new problems spreading across the galaxy. Maria spent most of her time organizing aid missions. She worked with Ben and Nora to send food and medicine to struggling colonies. The team used all the contacts they had made over the years. They worked late nights and early mornings, always trying to do their best. For those who truly needed help, Ethan was sent to a small mining planet on the edge of council space. The miners there had always liked the human team. Now, with pirates growing bolder, the colony was in trouble. Ethan arrived on a small shuttle and was greeted by worried faces. He spent days helping repair old shield generators and teaching the miners new ways to keep their homes safe. Back on the council, Lyra tried to speak up. She remembered how peaceful things were when humans helped mediate. Lyra called for the council to work together, but her voice was lost in the noise. Some delegates blamed humans for the chaos, but others quietly admitted that life had been better when Maria and her team were there. On Earth, Maria received a message from Lyra. Lyra begged her to come back to the council and help restore order. Maria read the message with a heavy heart. She wanted to help, but she remembered the years of being ignored and insulted. She talked with Ben, Nora, and Ethan. "If we return now, nothing will change," Maria said. "We need real respect, not just an apology because things are bad." Ben agreed. "We should keep helping those who ask us directly." "The council has to learn this lesson on their own," Nora nodded. "We're making a difference. The colonies and refugees need us more than ever." The human team split up to help where they could. Ethan stayed on the mining planet for 2 weeks. He ate simple meals with the miners and slept in a small bunk. At night, he listened to their stories about the times when humans and aliens worked together to fight disasters. He realized how much everyone missed that sense of teamwork. Meanwhile, pirates attacked a trade convoy near the mining colony. Ethan helped organize a defense, using old human tactics the aliens had never learned. The miners, inspired by Ethan's calm leadership, fought off the pirates and saved their supplies. News of the victory spread quickly. People on other worlds began asking for human help. On the star station, the council was still in chaos. Vilari, the council leader, tried to keep order, but every meeting ended in shouting. Lyra called another emergency session. She begged the council to reach out to Maria and her team. Some delegates listened, but the Groton and a few others still refused to trust humans. Outside the council, old rivalries turned violent. Two powerful species started fighting over a planet rich in resources. Refugee numbers grew. Maria Ann. Her team received desperate messages from all over the galaxy. They tried to help as many as they could, but there were too many in need. One night, Nora was working late when she received a message from a refugee leader. The message said, "We only feel safe when the humans are here. Please do not leave." U.S. Nora showed the message to Maria. It made her even more determined to help. Even if it was not due to Council. As the weeks passed, Maria began to see a change. More and more alien leaders quietly contacted her, asking for advice and support. Maria always answered, but she kept her promises. No return to the Council until there was real change. Back on Earth, people watched the news with mixed feelings. Some were proud of Maria and her team. Others missed seeing humans at the center of galactic decision-making. The president sent another message of thanks, telling the team they have full support from home. Ethan finally returned from the mining colony. He brought gifts from the miners, simple things like a carved stone and a homemade blanket. He told stories of how the miners had fought together and how much they respected Earth's team. Maria, Ben, Nora, and Ethan met to share their stories. They realized they had more friends than ever, even if the Council still refused to see it. Maria said, "We will keep helping. We will not give up on peace, but we will do it in our own way." On the Council, Lyra was growing desperate. She called a private meeting with Vilari and a few trusted delegates. "We have made a mistake," Lyra said. "We pushed away our best hope for peace. If we do not change, the galaxy will break apart." Vilari listened in silence. He was proud, but he could not ignore the growing problems. He finally agreed to send a formal request for help to Maria and her team. It was the first time the Council had ever reached out to Earth with respect. Maria received the request and thought carefully. She told Vilari, "We will listen, but we want real change. Every species must have a voice, not just the powerful ones." The news that Earth's team was willing to talk again spread quickly. There was hope in the air. Refugees cheered. Miners and traders sent messages of thanks. Even some of the Council's strongest critics started to admit that maybe they had been wrong. Maria smiled for the first time in weeks. She knew the road ahead would not be easy. But for the first time, she felt that real respect might finally be within reach for humans and for everyone else who called the galaxy home. News of humanity's withdrawal spread like a wave across the galaxy. On the star station, the halls were quieter than before. Even those who had once ignored the humans now spoke in low voices about Earth's decision. Maria and her team packed their things and prepared to leave. As they walked through the main hall, some alien traders looked at them with worry, while others seemed almost relieved. On their ship, Maria watched the stars pass by. Ethan sat next to her, thinking about everything that had happened. Ben was checking messages from the outer colonies. Nora was busy with supply lists for new aid missions. The ship felt both peaceful and heavy at the same time. Back on Earth, news reports filled the screens. Some people were angry at the Council. Others were proud of Maria and her team for standing up for respect. The President of the United Nations sent a message, thanking the team for their service and asking them to stay ready for new orders. Maria met with her team in the ship's meeting room. She looked around the table and saw how tired everyone was. She said, "We did what we thought was right. Now we watch and wait." Ethan felt restless. "We could still do something," he said quietly. "If things get worse, we could help. Maybe not as council members, but as friends." Ben nodded. "The colonies trust us. Maybe they will listen if we offer advice." The team agreed to keep helping where they could, but not through the Council. Instead, they would focus on helping planets and stations that really needed them. They would not ignore people just because the Council did. Meanwhile, on the Council, Vilari called an emergency meeting. The room felt tense. Some delegates blamed the humans for causing trouble. Others began to worry about problems growing in the galaxy. There were more pirate attacks. Some small planets stopped paying their taxes to the Council. Old rivalries that had been quiet for years now began to rise again. Lyra, a delegate from a peaceful world, tried to speak sense. We depended on humans more than we realized. They kept the peace. They were fair mediators. Now we are seeing what happens without them. The ground delegate argued, we can handle things on our own. We do not need humans to fix every problem. But the room grew quiet when reports came in about the trouble in border regions. 2 council member species had started fighting over mining rights. Pirate attacks were more common. The council's patrol ships were not enough to stop the chaos. On the human ship, Maria received a private message. It was from an old friend, an alien named Talon, who had once studied on Earth. The message was simple. Please help. Things are falling apart. Maria showed the message to her team. Nora felt sad. We can't go back unless the council is ready to respect us. Double quotes. Ethan thought for a moment. Maybe we don't need the council. Maybe we can help our friends. One at a time. So the human team began to send advice and supplies directly to places that asked for help. Maria sent messages to the leaders of small colonies, offering food, medicine, and guidance. Ethan answered calls from old friends who worked on distant mining stations. Ben sent data about how to fix broken shield generators to a planet that was being attacked by pirates. Back on the council, Villari grew more worried each day. He saw how quickly order was slipping away. Delegates began to fight with each other in meetings. Accusations flew back and forth. Lyra watched the arguments. And remember when humans had kept things calm by listening to everyone? The news spread fast. Reporters began to write stories about the problems that came after humans left. Some stories blamed the council. Others blamed the humans. But in the middle of all the fighting, some voices began to say that Earth had been right all along. Ethan received a coded message from an alien scientist, Rena, who was working in the outer systems. She wrote, "The council is falling apart. We need you." I wish they had listened sooner. Maria read the message and felt torn. She wanted to help, but she knew that just going back would mean nothing if the council did not change. She talked with her team. We will keep helping those who ask, but we will not return to the council until they admit they made a mistake. The team kept working quietly. They sent supplies to a colony that had lost power after a pirate attack. They helped a group of refugees escape from a war zone. Everywhere they went, people were grateful for human help. On the council, some delegates began to meet in secret. Lyra led a group of leaders who wanted to reach out to Earth. She said, "We made a mistake. We must tell the humans we are sorry," and ask them to return. Not everyone agreed. The Groton and some others still did not trust humans. But every day, things grew worse. A small war started between 2 council planets. Trade ships vanished without a trace. Refugee camps grew bigger. On the human ship, Maria and her team watched these events and felt sad. They did not celebrate the council's troubles. They only wanted to be treated fairly, like every other species. Ethan said, "Maybe now we'll see why we ask for respect." One night, Maria stood alone on the observation deck. She looked at the galaxy, full of lights and shadows. She whispered, "We only wanted peace. Now everyone has to learn why that is so important." The next morning, a new message arrived from Earth. The president thanked the team for their hard work. "You are making a difference," the message said. "One day the galaxy will understand." Maria read the message out loud to her team. It gave them hope, but they knew the journey was not over. They waited and watched, ready to help but also ready to walk away until true respect was given. The galaxy, for the first time, began to understand what it had lost when the humans stepped back. The day after the council meeting, Maria gathered her team on the ship for a private discussion. The atmosphere was heavy. Ethan brought in warm drinks for everyone, trying to make things feel a little more normal. Ben stared at the table, lost in thought. Nora looked at the screen showing news from across the galaxy. Reports of trouble on distant planets scrolled by, showing fights, protests, and worried faces. Maria took a deep breath and started speaking. I know we are all tired. The council has shut us out. We must decide what to do next. Do we keep trying, or do we step away for a while? Ben was the first to answer. If we keep trying, we will just waste our time. They don't want us. Here, maybe they need to learn what it's like without us. Nora looked nervous. But if we leave, things could get worse for the people who depend on us. What about the colonies we help? What about the refugees? Ethan nodded slowly. Nora's. Right, but Ben is right too. They do not listen to us. We are not leaving forever. We can still help, but not through the council. Maria listened to their words. She knew that whatever choice they made, someone would be hurt. She thought about all the times the team had been turned away. She also thought about the children. In the refugee camps, the miners on distant worlds who sent messages asking for food and medicine, and the small outposts that only survived because of Earth's support. After a long silence, Maria spoke again. We will help those who truly need it, but we will not sit at the council table until they are ready to listen. We need to show them we are serious. Maybe then they will understand our value. Ben nodded. I agree. We can work with the people directly. We don't need the council's permission to do good. The team sent a message to the Galaxy Council. Maria wrote it carefully. She explained that Earth was stepping back from peace talks for now, but would still send help to those in real need. She ended the message with a simple line. We hope one day you will respect our voice. The message was sent, and the team waited. On the other side of the star station, council members gathered in a private room. Valari, the council leader, read the message out loud. Some delegates laughed, thinking humans were just being dramatic. Others looked worried. The Groton delegate spoke first. They will be back. Humans always want to be the center of attention. But Rena, the small scientist, shook her head. This is different. They have never done this before. News of the human team's decision spread quickly. Across the galaxy, reporters shared the story. Some alien citizens felt relief, hoping the council would finally work better without human arguments. But others started to worry. On planets where humans had been helping, fear grew. Would the doctors and engineers still come? Would food and medicine still arrive? Maria and her team started making plans. They contacted the colonies directly, letting them know they would still receive support. Maria told the Truth Earth was stepping back from council talks, but not abandoning anyone in need. The messages from the colonies were full of gratitude. Many leaders thanked Maria and her team. Some even sent gifts, like art or music. As a sign of thanks, Ethan spent his time talking to families on a mining colony near a dangerous nebula. He promised that supply ships would keep coming. The families felt better, but they were still worried about what might happen if pirates attacked, or if the council blocked the ships. Back on the council, some members began to meet in secret. They discussed ways to keep Earth from growing too, powerful outside the council's control. Valari warned them, if we let humans do as they please, we might lose our influence. Others were less sure. Rena argued that the council needed to change. Maybe we should learn from Earth instead of pushing them away. But the older delegates were stubborn. They remembered old wars and refused to trust humans. Meanwhile, rumors spread among traders and pirates that the galaxy was about to become more dangerous. Without humans at the table, some thought the balance of power would change. Small fights started to break out in far-off regions where council patrols were weak. Pirates attacked a supply convoy, and a small colony lost power for days. The council tried to fix the problems, but it was harder without Earth's help. Maria watched these reports and felt sad. She wanted to do more but knew she had to let the council see what life was like without humans. She hoped they would realize their mistake before too much damage was done. At night, Maria talked to her family on Earth. Her mother asked if she was doing the right thing. Maria replied, I am not sure, but I hope the galaxy will understand why we step back. On the ship, Nora helped coordinate new aid missions. She and Ben worked late, finding ways to send food and medicine where it was needed most. Ethan wrote a report for the United Nations, explaining the new plan. "We are not giving up," he wrote. "We are changing our strategy." The human team worked hard, but they also felt lonely. They missed being part of the council, even if it had always been difficult. Maria thought about the friends she had made among the other species. She wondered if they would ever see each other again. On a quiet night, Ethan received a private message from an unknown sender. It was from Rena, the alien scientist. She warned him, "Without you, the council will fall apart. I hope you return soon." Ethan showed the message to Maria. She smiled sadly. Maybe they are starting to see the truth. Maria sent a reply to Rena. "We want to help, but we need respect. When the council is ready, we will talk again." As the days passed, more trouble started to appear. Trade ships vanished near the border. A riot broke out on a mining world. Refugee camps grew larger as more people fled fighting. The news was full of problems the council could not fix. Maria and her team watched it all. They did their best to help where they could. Ethan told the others, "We cannot solve every problem, but if the council truly needs us, they will ask for our help." The part ended with Maria standing on the bridge of her ship, looking out at the stars. She whispered to herself, "Maybe now they will see what humans can do. Maybe now they will miss us." The large meeting room on the star station was filled with voices from every corner of the galaxy. Alien leaders in strange robes and glowing badges talked among themselves, their translators humming quietly. Maria sat at the far end of the table. She was the chief negotiator for Earth, and she tried to sit up straight and look confident. Ethan, the youngest member of her team, sat beside her, watching everything with careful eyes. It was supposed to be a day for peace. The council had called this meeting because tensions in the galaxy were rising again. For years, humans had tried to build trust with the other species. They had offered help in disasters, sent doctors to sick planets, and shared food with hungry colonies. But whenever it was time to make big decisions, humans were always left out. Maria knew the history. When Earth first joined the council, many alien species did not trust humans. Some thought humans were too violent. Others worried they would take over. Even after years of hard work, that feeling had never truly changed. As the meeting began, the council leader, a tall alien with silver skin named Valari, banged his staff on the floor. "Let us begin," he said. "Today we must talk about the future. The borders are not safe. Trade ships have been attacked. There is unrest in several regions." Maria listened as the delegates spoke, one by one. Each alien described their problems. The Grotans wanted more patrol ships. The Luraks complained about refugees. The Zilari were angry because of trade taxes. Maria waited for her turn. When Maria finally spoke, she spoke slowly and tried to be calm. "Earth wants to help solve these problems. We believe the only way to stop fighting is by working together. We can send ships to protect the borders, and we can help set up trade rules that are fair for everyone." But before she could finish, a tall Groton stood up. His voice was sharp. "Earth is too new to these problems. You do not understand our history." Maria tried to answer, but another delegate from the Luraks waved his hand. "Humans always want to lead. We should let the older members decide." Ethan's face turned red. He watched as the other delegates ignored Maria's ideas. No one even tried to discuss them. It was like Earth's seat at the table was just for show. Maria kept her voice steady. "We have experience with border patrols. We have stopped pirate attacks on other planets before. Please consider our help." But now, even Valari looked away. "Thank you, Maria. We will keep that in mind." After a few hours, the council decided to vote on new patrol plans. None of Maria's suggestions were included. Earth's team sat quietly while the council moved on to other business. When the meeting ended, Ethan followed Maria out of the room. He saw the tired look in her eyes. "They did not even try to listen," Ethan said quietly. Maria nodded. "We did what we could. But it is always the same. They are polite, but they do not respect us." On the way back to their ship, the team walked through the busy halls of the star station. Alien traders and soldiers moved past them. Some nodded, but most did not look at the humans at all. In the briefing room of the ship, Maria called her team together. Ethan, Nora, and Ben sat around the table. Maria started the meeting. "We have to talk about what happened. We tried our best, but the council will not listen." Ben, who was older and had gray hair, shook his head. "I do not think anything will change. They think we are troublemakers." Nora looked worried. "Should we just give up? There are people who depend on us. Some colonies need help." Maria listened to them all. "We have a choice. We can keep trying, or we can step back for a while. Maybe they need to see what happens without us." Ethan thought about it. "If we keep trying, they will always treat us like children. If we leave, maybe they will realize we were helping." There was a long silence. Outside, the stars moved slowly past the ship's windows. Maria could see her own reflection in the glass. She wondered if she was making the right choices. She remembered all the times humans had come to the rescue of other species. She thought about the hospitals Earth had built on alien worlds, and the friendship she had made over the years. At that moment, a message came from Earth. The President of the United Nations wanted to know if there was any progress. Maria sent a short reply. "We tried. They refused to listen. We need to think about our next step." That night, Maria could not sleep. She walked the quiet halls of the ship. She looked at the stars and wondered if there would ever be real peace in the galaxy. She was tired of always having to prove that humans deserved a seat at the table. In another part of the star station, some of the council members were talking quietly. Valari looked uneasy. The Groton delegate shook his head. "Humans are too unpredictable. They might be dangerous." But another alien, a small scientist named Rena, disagreed. "They are not dangerous. They just want to help. Maybe we should have listened." The Groton ignored her. "Earth will do what it wants. We must make our own plans." Back on the human ship, Ethan watched the stars. He wondered if they should leave the talks. He remembered something his father had told him. Respect is not given. It is earned, but it can also be taken away. The first day ended with everyone feeling uncertain. Maria and her team knew something had changed, but they did not know what would come next. For now, all they could do was wait and decide if it was worth fighting to be heard, or if it was time to step away and let the galaxy see what life was like without humans at the table.